Okie dokie now. Today I'm going to show you how to cut a rafter step by step, detail by detail. All you're going to need is a speed square, a tape measure, and a pencil. And I have a piece of wood right here, which is going to be our roofing rafter. Now let's get to work. First things first, let's look at this speed square. Okay, you'll notice right away, there's numbers right here. There's numbers right here. And they look awfully like the same numbers. They 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like on like that. So these are very similar, but you're gonna be using for today's video, we're gonna be doing common rafter cuts, just your basic rafter, okay? Simple entry-level rafter. This is right here, the common. So we're gonna be doing the common, easy, basic level rafter right here, okay? And up here is hip and valley rafters, okay? So you do not wanna get confused or you'll mess your whole roof up. Okay, so there's a 1/12 pitch, a 2/12 pitch, a 3/12 pitch, a 4/12 pitch, a 5/12 pitch, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, on like that, okay, for your common rafters. Now a 12/12 pitch would be 12, 12, okay? And you'll find up here, 12 is a 45-degree angle. So if you have the, up here, this is like a cheat sheet, okay? A 1/12 is a 4 degree, a 2/12 is a 950 degree. A 3/12 is a 14 degree, and over here a 12/12 is a 45 degree. Okay, 45 degree angle is a 12/12, which would be right here. So let's go ahead and show you what that means, because what that's doing is if you have the angle, which is a 45 degree angle, okay, on the 12/12, and the roof is at 45 degrees, then you already know it's a 12/12 because your cheat sheet tells you you're over here. So instead of finding this, so we'd put this here, here's the pivot point, okay? And I'm gonna show you right now. Let's go to the 12. So we're pivoting. It's a little bit hard through the camera, but I'm gonna show you. Here's the 12, okay? So on our common line, which is this right here, common line is at a 12/12 pitch right here, okay? And you'll also notice right below that on the degrees, okay, here's your degrees. Here's the 45 degrees at a 12/12. Does that make sense, I hope? Okay, common roofing rafter, a 12/12, you'd put it on the 12 from that pivot point, and it's also 45 degrees. So if you have the degrees of the roof, which is 45 degrees, you can already know that it's a 12/12. But Grant, I'm not doing a 12/12 pitch. I'm doing an 8/12 pitch. Okay, no big deal. Here's your 12/12 pitch at 45 degrees. We already went over that. Now, let's go to 8. So there's the 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So you can see I'm now on the common line at the 8, which is almost 35 degrees, but it's actually 33.75 degrees, okay, at the 8/12 pitch. And how do we know? We're not really going to worry about the degrees because it's not a perfect 35 degrees. We're going to put it right on the perfect at 8. So in this case, we would go up here and find 8, and there's it's 33.75. That's an awfully hard number to do, roughing it with a speed square. So we're gonna go at the 8/12. This is an 8/12 pitch right here. Now a 7/12, a 6/12, a 5/12, so on and so forth. We're gonna be building an 8/12 pitch on a common roofing rafter for a gable end house or a shed or anything, okay? So there's the 8. This is my 8/12 pitch. Now, all I've done is done the same thing I did over here, pivoting to get my 8/12. And over here, I did the same thing. I pivoted right here and got my 8/12 across right here. This is my trash piece. This is my trash piece. Now, before we go any further, we're gonna go ahead and cut that off and cut that off. So now that we have the ridge cut, and we have the fascia board cut at the bottom, I'm gonna want a 1 foot overhang, okay? So I'm gonna take my measuring tape from the pointy end, and we're gonna measure down 1 foot, and we're gonna make a mark at 1 foot, which is right here. So let me show you this now. We have 1 foot from here over to here, okay, and I've just made a little mark. Now I'm gonna follow the same pattern as I did with the others, going to the 8 on the common line, okay, which is right here. That's at the 8, and it's down here, so I'm gonna have to slide it up a little bit, like that, till it meets with my line right there. Now let's check again, we're still at 8. Perfect, perfect. Now that's at 8, and we'll go from there down to here, but all we need to do is go a couple of inches in. So I'm gonna take my marker and I'm gonna draw a line up 2 inches, okay? So let me set you down. You could draw a line all the way. I'm just gonna draw a line all the way across so you can see how simple this is. So now you can see I've made my line right here. This is 1 foot right here to right here. And then we did our 8-12 just like we did here and there. I like to cut off that one and that one first, but you could make all 3 lines. 1 8-12, 8-12, 8-12, just like that. One's for the ridge, one's for the fascia board, and this one here is for our bird's mouth cut to get our overhang for our roof, okay? So that the rain can come off and get away from the siding of your house. So this line essentially is gonna be the edge of your home. So this is where my, my top plate for my house is, and this is my overhang, and you would have a soffit running down this way, down all the rafters down here. Fascia board, ridge board, soffit, and overhang. Your building is right here coming down, okay? Like a house. Now, you don't have to go all the way up. We only need to go up 2 inches. So what I'm gonna do now is go from the bottom here. This is where my bird's mouth is gonna be. And we're gonna get that pitch just like that. And we're only gonna go up 2 inches, okay? So right here is the 2 inches. If you notice, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Well, we're only gonna go up 2 from right here on the bottom and make a mark at this 2, which is right here, okay? And then we're gonna make our bird's mouth cut. So this is all I have. I've made a mark at 2 inches, but not just a mark. I've made a cross, okay? I've made a cross. Now, we're gonna take our speed square and we're gonna run it off of that cross, put it inside the angle of that like this, okay? Just like so, and we're gonna make it as perfect as we can, which is gonna be right there, and we're gonna make our line down the top of the speed square, which is right here, okay? Now we have where the fascia goes, the soffit goes here, the building wall and top plates are right here. So this is bird's mouth. It's gonna be resting on the top plate of your home. I'll show you that in a second. And then up here is where we connect to the ridge, and then we'll flop the same board over. And once you make one, you'll just make 50 of them or whatever, however many you need. You'll make I would just do 3 or 4 at a time and make sure that the one that you make fits all the way down the building before you make all of them the same, so you don't waste a bunch of wood. So yeah, just make one first and see if it fits all the way down the building. And if it does, mimic this exact same thing, laying it over another board and just zip, 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 zip. So here's the rafter in real life. What you would see here is you'd see the top plate running down of the building, okay? Now you're putting your roof on the top plate and the bird's mouth sets right on that top plate. Now right here, this is our 1 foot overhang where you'd put your soffit and your vents, okay? Over here is the ridge, okay? So the ridge board would be running down right here, and all of your rafters would tie into that ridge board, okay? And down here is your fascia board. This is where you'd put your fascia board and paint that nice looking trim and all that, and your shingles would be laid right on top of this and the decking of the house, okay? So if that makes sense. And you can see how this is the only one, this is level here, okay? The bird's mouth is to keep it stable. And then this angle and that angle are the same for your ridge and your fascia board. Now that we know that, how do you fasten this all together? Well, at the ridge board top, you'd put a nail in right here going into the ridge board and another nail right here going into the ridge board. So you'd have 2 going in the ridge board, and on the back side, you do the same thing, 2 nails in like that. So you'd go pop, 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 pop. So you'd have 4 nails at the ridge. Down here, you'd have 1 nail here and 1 nail over here. So you'd have 2 nails at the bird's mouth. And then over here on the fascia board, you would put the 2 nails into the rafter, going from the ridge board into the rafter like that. So 2 nails here, 1 here, 1 there, 2 here, 2 there. So that's how many nails you would have, and that's how you would fasten all this together. And then your soffit right here in vents, and your decking would go on that, shingles and all that. I think I went over that already. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then you would flop this board over here, and you'd have your gable house pitch, okay, going over here, your gable roof all the way down the building. And obviously, you would just make 50 of these if you needed, okay, as long as you check it here, like so. Just make one. This is the first one that you make. You would check it on this side of the house, check it here, check it here, check it here, here, check it all the way down the building. Okay, you're checking it all the way down the building to see that it fits all the way down the building. Now, if it does, you go ahead and make this a template to make all of your other ones, okay? Make all of your other ones off of this one. But if it doesn't fit, obviously you'll have to make another template of a different length if it's a couple inches off, or a ½ inch, or you know, whatever. If it's more than a ½ inch off, you're gonna have to make a different template, and so on and so forth like that. But hopefully you're building this square and you can make one just like this all the way down the house. Now you can see how this is holding all together. These are very good cuts, very straight cuts. And it's even not even a full 2x4 width. And you can see I've done a wonderful job here. If this video was helpful in any way, go ahead and like it, subscribe to the channel if you like home improvement videos, and I will see you next time.